I've got a special edition Taco Bell PS4, but unfortunately it's broken, so today I'm gonna see if I can fix it. This video is sponsored by Native. So these are the sold prices on eBay. We've got anywhere from $271 here all the way up to $600. This one doesn't come with a gold controller, but I probably have one of those laying around too. Obviously we have a major problem here, but I'm still gonna plug it in just to see what it does. The power and eject buttons don't work. The power button isn't even there, but we can try and see if it'll power on when we put a disc in. And just no power at all. So it's time to take this thing apart and see what all's wrong. Okay, and that's disgusting. So we've definitely got roach damage on this one. There's also a bunch of corrosion just kind of like everywhere. I don't know whether that's liquid or whether that's just from roach excrement. Either way, that's disgusting, but let's get it taken apart the rest of the way and see what else we find. So the bottom side of it looks way better. Definitely has a little bit of evidence of roaches here, but nothing like the top side. So we've got a few problems that I see so far other than the nasty corroded motherboard. We got some screws that aren't where they're supposed to go. We got some missing screws up here. There's a plate that goes here we're missing and a plate that goes here we're missing. This screw doesn't even go on a PS4, so they just grabbed that out of a parts bin or something apparently. I think I probably have those parts laying around. Hopefully, let's get this plate off and see how bad the rest of the board looks. Okay, we got some missing thermal pads, no problem there. Can put those back on. We got a missing plate that goes under here. Let's see what the other side of the board looks like. Wow, there actually is fresh thermal paste on here. That's amazing. And the rest of the board, this side of the board, actually doesn't look that bad. More screws that aren't where they're supposed to be. Fan actually looks like it probably works fine still, even though it's starting to rust here. So we've got this all torn down so we can clean it all up. Let's take a look inside this disk drive and make sure this looks okay as well. Ah, there we go. We got one dead cockroach in there. I'm glad I took this disk drive apart. This guy would have caused some problems if we would have put a disk in there. Okay, and overall, other than that, this disk drive actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna give it a general cleaning, then we'll move on. And this is the PS4 that I'm gonna be harvesting parts from. Since we have so many parts that we're gonna need, just gonna take them off of this one so we can install them on the gold one. Now, since we're using the parts out of this one anyway, instead of cleaning this one up, I'm gonna clean out the dust on this one and just use this mid-frame. We've also got a good fan, but it also needs to be cleaned as it is super dirty as well. It's definitely not perfect, but it looks pretty good. Now with the fan and the mid-frame cleaned, we can start the reassembly. I've seen heat sinks that are a lot worse than this, but this was on the way to causing an overheating issue for sure. Now let's take a look at the motherboard and see if it's fixable. I mean, clearly the first problem is that they didn't have the perfect amount of thermal paste. So I think this side of the board is probably fine. I think it's the other side that we really need to worry about. And all of this in here is what I'm worried about, along with this here and over here. There's just little bits of corrosion all over this entire part. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just try and clean this all up, and hopefully that'll take care of it. I'm just gonna be using some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush, and that's gonna be about as good of a cleaning as we can do right now. So let's put this board in and see what happens. Of course, before we put the board in, we need to apply the perfect amount of thermal paste. And there we go. And I have it back together enough to test. Let's see if it'll turn on. But first, let's talk about today's sponsor, Native. When I'm buying personal care products, I'm always looking for products that I can tell what exactly is in them. That's where Native comes in. Native deodorants are aluminum-free, paraben-free, vegan, and cruelty-free. They have familiar and simple ingredients you know, such as coconut oil and shea butter. These two scents are a little bit more subtle than the others, and they make me feel fresh and clean all day long. One of my favorite things about Native deodorants, besides the amazing smell of their charcoal version, is the plastic-free version. The plastic-free version is exactly the same formula, but with a more sustainable packaging. I definitely don't recommend doing this when you have microphone wires under your shirt. I love that the formula is not too sticky and it dries quickly, so it's great for when you're on the go. I prefer Native deodorant because I know exactly what's going on my body. Native already has a wide range of amazing scents, but be sure to check out Native's festive holiday scents as well. They include sugar cookie, candy cane, and fresh mistletoe. 3 deodorants are normally $36, but if you use my code TRONICS, you'll get them for $24, which is 33% off. Also, if you use my code, you can get 20% off off body wash and toothpaste. So be sure to use my link in the description with code Tronics to get your discount. Now let's see if this PS4 is gonna start up. Oh, nothing there. Let's check the eject button. Nothing. Okay, so let's try replacing the power supply. Usually when roaches are in a console, they burn out the power supply. So let's try that first and then see if it'll turn on after that. And just for fun, let's open up this power supply. Oh yeah, looks like there's definitely was a problem right there. So this power supply is definitely bad. Let's put in a known good one. So we've cleaned up the motherboard, replaced the mid-frame and the fan, replaced the power supply, installed the new power button, installed the little shields on the board that were missing, installed all the screws that were missing, but we can't try powering it on without cleaning up the case first. And now the case is nice and clean. Let's plug it in and see if it turns on. Okay, let's see if the eject button works. Okay, we've got eject. Let's try the power button. Good, and we got a blue light. The TV recognizes, oh, what's that? Got a clicking sound probably coming from the hard drive area. Oh, we got a PlayStation logo. Still a blue light though. Okay, back to a black screen after the restart. Oh, here we go. We got a white light. This is good, but still nothing on the display. Cannot start PS4, cannot access system storage. That's kind of what I thought it would say. Let's get the hard drive replaced and see if that takes care of that error. Luckily, we've got a hard drive right here from the console we took apart to use for parts for this one. Okay, cannot start the PS4. That's totally normal when you put in a new hard drive. So next I need to get the system software, install it, then we can test the disk drive. While we let this PS4 update, let's see if it will take in a disk. Oh no, it will not. So you can hear it kind of try at first, but then it just doesn't actually pull it in. So the first thing I'm gonna do is check these fuses. That fuse is good. And that fuse is good. Now, before we get too crazy with looking at this motherboard, since I've already done the easy checks, I'm actually gonna replace this disk drive with a known good one. And then if it works, then we'll start looking at the disk drive instead of the motherboard. Now let's see what happens when I try and put a disk in with the known good drive. And there we go. So that means this disk drive is faulty, so let's figure out what's going on with it. So from past experiences, the first thing I suspect is this motor right here. In order to get to that, I need to take off the top of the optical drive as well. Then we just need to remove this cable and these two screws. And that just fell right out. Oh yeah. This motor is just completely frozen up. Oh, there we go, got a little bit loosened. I kind of want to see if it'll still work, but I know that if it was frozen up, that's because there's a bunch of corrosion in there, so we just need to replace it. And we can just install the top cover and out with the known good disk drive and in with the newly repaired disk drive. And now with the newly repaired disk drive, let's see if it'll take a disk in and if the disk will spin up. Oh, there we go. It's pulling it in. It's spinning up so far. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. This special edition PS4 is fixed. If you want to see me try and fix another special edition PS4 that I bought from Goodwill, I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I can fix it. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.